All right, here we go. Get ready to have a good time. This is exciting, isn't it?
All right, we're on. Hello, testing.
Welcome aboard the Dreamliner.
It's the only way to fly.
I've allotted 1 hour for recreational activity. There's no time for irrelevant conversation. Fun will now commence.
Garry.
Here's a young speaker who is really in demand.
Don't let that go to your head, Garry. But wait, there's more.
See, I'm the guy.
He's Garry Meier.
It's the January 22nd, 2021 edition of the Garry Meier Show Cocktail Hour Live.
Cocktails, woo, drinks.
Wheels Up was at 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 o'clock Central, etc., etc. Replay the show when you like. Subscribe to the Garrforce Live YouTube channel. Anyway, if you're like me, you also listen to the Monday through Thursday Garry Meier Show audio podcasts. This week, Garry and Leslie were talking up the livability of Columbus, Ohio, and sharing listener-contributed details too. No one mentioned the vibrant Columbus art scene, so I reached out to some folks I know there that own a theater.
The Nest Theater, Columbus, Ohio's only dedicated space for improvisation, sketch comedy, and experimental theater. We have 25 live main stage shows and classes available at nesttheater.com, or watch a show at Twitch TV/The Nest Theater while we're virtual. The fun is always happening at the Nest.
Garry's guest today may also have something to say about a certain Big Ten university that's there too. College credit? Right there. Of course, no matter where you are, it's time for a digital mimosa. As I remind you every week, comments are welcome during our live shows on any of our streaming platforms. And you can also text us at 773-888-2157. Charges may apply. Before I bring on Garry this week, I want to share a clip from a recent Garry Meier Show audio podcast and a listener comment.
Spartans! What is your profession?
When my senior yearbook asked for all of the activities I had participated in for the 4 years, I had none. So I made a couple things up. Badminton 2 and rugby 3. I put it down, thought they'll never print this. They printed it.
And here's the voicemail I received.
I keep hearing Garry say on the show that he made up playing badminton for his senior yearbook. Well, let me tell you. I grew up in Chicago's Pullman neighborhood, too, and played badminton against him many times. No one on the south side knew how to abuse a shuttlecock like that kid, Garry Meier.
Okay, now fasten your seatbelts. It's time to go wheels up on the Garrforce Live.
Thank you, Alan Delinka. Appreciate that. First of all, we have to get wheels up, we have to kick the tires, we have to light the fires, and then we're wheels up. Can we do that, Alan? Let's do it. There it is. All right. I want to say hello to a lot of people that have already checked in. I got Dottie. Dottie's having a beer with the cocktail show here today. It's the Streaming Schnauzer cocktail show. You got George Bliss. My friend George Bliss introduced me to the guest I'm going to have on a little later, Jerry Riles. Jerry is a sportscaster in Chicago, and it's because of George that I know Jerry. So thank you, George, for that. Johnny from Michigan has checked in. Keith, Blaze, Donna, Stephen, Martin from British Columbia, Sandy, Lloyd, Debbie, Thomas, Cindy, Russell, Janine, yay. That's what Janine says, yay. Hey, you had that caller, Alan, and the caller mentioned West Pullman. I grew up in West Pullman on the far south side of Chicago, and I was thinking, as we do these shows every Friday, I like to have this rhythm, this continuity, this tradition, and it reminded me of something where after we moved from the West Pullman area of Chicago, we moved to the southwest suburbs to this town called Oak Forest, and after that, every Friday, our mother, my brothers and sisters, and I, and our mother, she'd pick us up at school every Friday, and we'd drive back into the city and then go to our favorite places in the city, and it became a tradition. And Friday nights remind me of that. That's that memory that I have where it's consistent, and I look forward to it, and I look forward to this show every Friday. And today I started the day, I got up, showered or didn't. and I went and I got my mega tickets. The jackpot is $1 billion. And I just want to say good luck to all of us who have tickets. I hope you or me or somebody wins that is part of the show. Wouldn't that be great? All right. Leslie, did you buy any tickets?
I did. Well, I bought tickets that were losers for the last drawing, so I still have those sitting in the kitchen. I bought a scratcher. I figured I'd change it up a little bit. We'll see what happens. So far, I only scratched half. I left the rest for my husband. It seems like the juju's better that way when you share.
So he hasn't scratched the other half yet?
He has not. He's a delayed gratification kind of guy.
Wow. Okay. Well, $1 billion. This is a great jackpot because even after taxes, if you take the lump sum, even after taxes, you're going to have a shitload of money.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. Ooh, that's a bingo.
We'll keep doing the podcast. We will absolutely keep doing the podcast.
Of course. Like I said, I like this Friday situation. I look forward to it. I know all day we're going to have this and we're going to have drinks. And I just really like this a lot. Next Friday, my guest will be Dieter Sturm. He is an Academy Award winner. He makes snow for movies, TV shows, and commercials. And a lot of the snow he's made for a lot of movies are the movies that you've probably seen. A lot of these movies I know you've seen because he's very much in demand. That's why he won an Academy Award.
Well, and when you think of movies where snow is so integral, that's where he's seen, or where we've seen some of his best work, primarily Fargo. I mean, come on. No other movie makes you feel cold just by watching it.
And Dieter did the snow in the movie. They have this, if you haven't seen it, there's a scene at this parking garage, the top level of the parking garage. There's a money exchange and there's shooting. And Dieter made all the snow that you see on that particular scene in Fargo. He did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We've all seen that, and a lot of other movies. So next Friday, Dieter Sturm on the show. Did you know that we are in the middle? Well, not exactly in the middle, soon. Wednesday started a 10 straight days of 5-digit palindrome rhythm.
There's been a lot of that. Well, and then this week we also had the 21st hour of the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So this is a kind of a weirdo month in a lot of ways. Anything could happen. You got $1 billion jackpot with Mega. A lot of strange things happening, and I like it a lot because I like strange. Hey, my friend John
and
Roach.
That's why. Oh, I should mention, and that's why today's wine is Freak Show.
Oh, okay.
That's
Freak Show.
Totally what this is.
You buy a lot of wines because of the label, and that's a pretty elaborate label. Is the wine any good?
Yeah, actually, the wine is just as good as the label. You know, and you may mock me, but I think that if they spend a lot of time to get the label right, then those are probably persnickety enough vintners that they care about what's inside the bottle too.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, and it's good.
Oh, it's tasty as hell.
Cheers,
everybody.
I saw on the text line a lot of people checking in. My friend John Roach, did you see him? He checked in from northern Wisconsin. Yeah, hey. He was a guest a number of months ago, and John, who wrote a screenplay that got made into a movie by David Lynch, Twin Peaks fame, Straight Story. If you haven't seen that movie, came out about 20 years ago, watch that movie, Straight Story. The premise is a guy wants to visit his brother, but this guy, Richard Farnsworth, who played this guy, he could not drive anymore because of his eyesight, so he took a riding lawnmower 400 miles to visit his brother. True story. Great movie. Check it out.
And Richard Farnsworth is awesome.
Oh, yeah. He sadly took his own life shortly after the movie. He was in some ill health, and that ended sadly, but a great actor. Great actor. Hey, you have a T-shirt, I believe, from listener Matt. And
I do.
You wanted, well, the Garrforce T-shirt available on the website, GarryMeier.com, with the coffee mugs. There is the stuff with the Garrforce logo on everything. And on the back of the coffee mugs, you've got those phrases, hot coffee is hot, sharks live in the ocean, and that kind of thing. And Matt, listener Matt, sends you a lot of T-shirts.
He does. And he sent me this one a while ago, and I'm sorry that I hadn't shown it sooner, but it says that my husband is going to have to build an extra closet because some goony bird keeps sending me all these custom t-shirts. That's our Matt. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Matt. And it's true. I mean, you have a lot of t-shirts from Matt. He hears
like 7 now.
So, yeah, he hears something on the show and then he runs and has a t-shirt made out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. That's nice. It's a nice gesture. All right. Looking at we're going to check the text here. Hey, if you want to talk on the show, that's possible. Text and say to Keith, producer Keith, hey, I want to talk on the show, 773-888-2157. And Keith will route you into the show. How about that? If you want to have a little conversation.
It's open line Friday. So whatever you're thinking about, share it with us, won't you?
Anthony checking in from Northwest Illinois. And Larry Stephen checking in from Palos Park. That's near my old neighborhood. Yeah, I get real. It's the middle of it's the dead of winter. This is the smack middle dead of winter right now. The daylight is elongating, so that's good.
A little bit, yeah.
And it's noticeable now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I take the dog out at the same time every night, and I'm taking him out in daylight now. Where I wasn't, say, a month ago, it was dark, and now, it's daylight. So I don't have to fumble around when I'm picking up his poop. Sometimes when it's dark, I have to, I think it's over here.
You're a very conscientious owner, and we appreciate that.
Yes, I am.
Is he still wearing his shoes?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
Got the shoes on, and I don't know if dogs get cold feet when they walk in snow, but I thought it seems like he likes them, and why not give him some protection?
Where was it? I saw a dog. I think it was after one of the recent marches or whatever you want to call riots, actions. They had the dogs in boots, so they wouldn't get cut up on the broken glass.
This was in Washington. This was in Washington?
I think it was in Washington or Portland or one of those. Yeah, they had the dogs walking around with boots on.
Were they stormtrooper boots? Maybe they should make stormtrooper boots. Okay. All right. Okay. We're going to do some of the stories that you've put together, but I want to share this text that I got from Sandra. Remember the story you had this week where the guy went to Walmart and he had a gallon of milk, and when the woman, the cashier, told him the price of the milk, he flipped out and slashed her with a knife?
Right.
Yeah. And I said, how much cheaper can milk be? It's Walmart. Isn't everything cheap? Well, Sandra responded and she said, depending on where you live, Walmart milk is usually pretty high priced because they know they've got you in there for the rest of their cheap crap. And why are you there? And while you are there, why don't you buy some milk? So they figure they'll jack up the price. It's one of those things. Aldi is where you should be shopping. Same quality as Trader Joe's because it's all in the family. Look it up.
And like I said, a lot of the grocery stores will make the milk the least expensive item because it's your loss leader.
Yes.
That's what's bringing you in. And now you just bought some steaks, though, and your budget is still screwed up. So that's cute.
Okay, but I'm not going to pull a knife. I figure it's all a wash. Say the milk is higher, but something else is going to be cheaper at Walmart because everything's pretty damn cheap because they buy in massive volume. And they set the price. They tell the manufacturer, this is what we're going to charge, and just deal with it, or you're not going to be in Walmart.
But if you overcharge Garry on the eggs, man, he's going to cut you.
Man.
Oh, by the way, I didn't do that today. Hey, Garry.
Hey, how are you? Okay. You sent me a story about this homeless enclosure that Germany is rolling out. And every time I see one of these things, I think, okay, years ago, I came up with an idea and people mocked me. And every year since, these things become reality. And I look like I'm some kind of idiot no more. Alan, can you
started?
Yeah.
Yeah, you started wanting to repurpose mailboxes. And doggone it, man, this is getting close to it.
All those decommissioned mailboxes, I thought, well, they're going to go into landfills or just sit there and rust out. How about you put the mailboxes together, make a little enclosure for the homeless? And now Germany is doing this thing for the homeless, and it's heated by solar panels. and there's some kind of communication hookup with shelters, and they can check on the homeless people to see if they're okay. And then they know to go clean them because they know that somebody's been in them overnight. But look at that. It's no bigger than a mailbox. Okay? I came up with this years ago.
And they mocked you.
They mocked.
But you keep giving away these $1 million ideas, and boy, people pick them up, and you get no credit.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What else do you have? And Larry's checking in from LaGrange, Illinois. If you are interested in checking in, you can do that on the text line here. Kathy says, Walmart has their milk cheap, not name brand. But usually a lot of these stores take name brand stuff and put their label on them. That's another thing they do.
Like Aldi. Yeah, you definitely get a feeling that you're probably just getting a new packaging and eating something that you would normally be spending a lot more money for.
Right.
Speaking of a lot of money, using his money to help humanity, Elon Musk is offering $100 million to whomever can develop the best carbon capture technology as a means of combating climate change. Back in 2012, Musk joined a handful of other super rich people signing what's come to be known as the Giving Pledge. Signatories state that their intention is to donate half their wealth to charity within their lifetime. This $100 million amounts to about 1% of Elon Musk's net worth.
1%.
So he's still got a ways to go. Yeah.
1%.
And by the way, he's not the richest man on the planet.
I thought he was.
Apparently, there's been some change in his stock price, so he's now the second richest man on the planet.
All right.
Who's number one?
Jeff Bezos.
Jeff Bezos. A little dog in Turkey is getting lots of love from around the world for the devotion she showed to her owner during a recent hospital stay. The fluffy white dog, whose name is Turkish for bead, followed the ambulance to the hospital on January 14th, the day her owner was taken there with some undisclosed ailment. And then from then on, Beat took it upon herself to wait outside the hospital entrance for her owner to return. The owner's daughter says she's been taking the dog home up until now, but it would just run right back to the hospital. That is until Wednesday, when our human was discharged. The dog was there to greet him, and that joyful reunion is now racking up thousands of views and likes across social media. It's so
yeah, I know. I saw the picture of the dog outside the hospital. I know you're a cat person, but dogs.
Oh, come on.
I mean, really. The dog went to the hospital and stayed outside, and they said would poke his head in the door when it opened up every now and then.
Look, yeah.
And knew his master was in there, and then would go home and come back the next day. Really.
Okay, so yes, I am a cat person. And with that, a Hungarian man who was lost in the Alps has lived to tell the tale thanks to a black and white cat who led him back to safety. The hiker says he sprained his ankle and became disoriented while trekking alone in the mountains near Gimmenwald. He was wandering aimlessly until this little cat walked up to him while he sat down to take a rest. From there, she led the way straight to the path that would lead him back to humanity. He posted video of the cat as she walked ahead, glancing over her shoulder to make sure he was keeping up. He later found out she belongs to a couple who run a local hostel.
All right. So you give your cat population a little balance here.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. Equal time. I understand. Is that all?
I have some more, but you want to hold on to them for a little while?
Sure.
Let's talk to our guest.
We will talk to Jerry here in a second. Did you hear about this guy in Boston, these Moderna vaccines that got ruined because this cleaning guy accidentally unplugged the cooler that had the vaccine in it? He was cleaning and unplugged it, and they were all ruined.
Oh, thanks. And you really only have like a couple hour window there, and otherwise they just got to toss it. That's great. 1,900
doses were ruined.
Thanks, Guy.
Thank God he doesn't work at a dialysis place. I'm just mopping around here. Oops, I unplugged something. People are dying.
It's like that scene in Airplane where they're playing the guitar and undoing the guy's IV bag. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like that. It is. All right, let's bring on the guest, Jerry Riles. He is a radio producer for a long time. He currently runs the Rewind Sports 60 on WCPT AM 820 in Chicago. And he produced radio shows for Walter Payton and Gale Sayers, football legends, not only in Chicago, but in football lore. They are huge. And here's the interesting thing. Hey, Jerry, welcome. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Gary. Thank you so very much. It's a pleasure and an honor to join you.
Here's the weird thing, and producer Alan pointed this out. This is the 34th live show. And what was Walter Payton's number?
You got it. 34.
Okay. I'm just hoping for the mega tonight. Oh, the mega.
There you go. There you go.
Welcome to the show. And I can talk to you about a lot of things, but something happened this week when you were doing your show, and I really enjoyed it because I like when things are uncomfortable and they're squirming as you listen to something or you're watching a TV show and there's something very awkward and it comes right through the screen. And I think you had that moment, Jerry, and you can tell me your feeling about it, but you had the owner of the Chicago Bears on, George McCaskey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And in the middle of the conversation, you kind of dropped this on him. Hey, why don't you give the Walter Payton family 1% ownership of the Bears?
Yeah.
And he didn't know that was coming, I would imagine. And I heard him squirm for about 3 or 4 minutes trying to get out of that. And he never responded to that in the way you would like him to respond. Have you heard back from him since?
No, we haven't heard anything back from the McCaskey family or anyone from the Bears organization regarding that situation. And the interesting thing about it is I was thankful and appreciative that the chairman, George McCaskey, agreed to come on the show because once the Bears were eliminated from the playoffs and their season was over with, many may know or may not know, but Chicago fan base were calling for the heads of the general manager, Ryan Pace, the head coach, Matt Nagy, people in the front office, because it was an embarrassment. It was a debacle, and we want to change. And so George McCaskey, they had their end of the season presser. He and Ted Phillips, the president, CEO of the Chicago Bears. And then they made individual media runs around the Chicago area, being on with the local sports talkers. And so we were able to be a part of that. And I was grateful and appreciative that he decided to come on. And of course, we throw out the questions. Is Matt Nagy coming back? What do you think about Ryan Pace? And we get the politically correct answers all throughout the interview for the most part. And he spent, I got to say, he spent 45 minutes on the air with us, which is phenomenal. And it's typically unheard of, to be honest with you, to have someone of his stature to be on for so long. But he gave us the politically correct answers. Oh yeah, we like what we're seeing. We're not happy with the season. Blah 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 blah. But the question that I posed him, which had been on my mind for quite some time, and I've been carrying it around for some time, and that is ownership, representation as far as minority, ownership, because the Bears and the McCaskey family simply don't have that in their front office or their board or anything of that nature. And so I always felt that Walter Payton, he is synonymous with Chicago Bears and football. And Papa Bear George Halas loved him. He just simply loved him. And of course, for those who may not be aware, Walter Payton, who passed away in 1999 unexpectedly at a very young age due to cancer, he had placed a bid to become the first minority owner, African-American owner of a football team, the National Football League. And that, of course, was the St. Louis Rams back during the time when they were in St. Louis. And he was denied by the owners because he didn't get enough votes. And Walter was simply devastated. He was literally simply devastated and crushed that after all of his contributions and hard work and dedication and loyalty and passion for the sport, that the owners turned a blind eye to his requests. And of course, he's no longer with us. So it's been sticking with me. And so I took advantage of the opportunity when George McCaskey came on. And after listening to all of this politically correct answers, I said, well, let's step out and tell him and ask him and see what he says. And initially, Gary, I was looking for 24% of the Payton family to be owners of the Chicago Bears franchise, but I knew it was a little bit too far outlandish. So I said, well, let me settle for 1%. And so when I posed the question to Mr. McCaskey, to George, as you as you just shared, he started backpedaling and he started, praising the Payton family and the contributions of Jarrett, the older son of Walter Payton, and of course Brittany, his daughter, and Connie, his wife. And he never answered the question that, that's something that we would look into. That's a great idea. None of that. And so my job was to get that out there. And I told him in the interview, hey, listen, it all starts with an idea. You put some legs on that idea, get some people around that idea, discuss it, marinate on it, and you see what happens. And as of a week, we haven't heard anything. So I was just happy that I had the opportunity to put that question to Mr. McCaskey.
Do you think he thought, well, you ambushed me? I was not expecting this, and there's no way I could answer it with, oh, yeah, we'll give the Payton family 1%. I understand that. He can't make that decision on his own, I'm sure. But I can't imagine them. Well, here's the thing. Let me go back. This is something that they should have done on their own. I just think it's good karma. I believe in good karma. I think it's something the Bears should extend to the Payton family and say it's 0.5%. The Bears are worth, I think, $3.5 billion.
Right.
That's their value.
Right.
I don't think it's going to kill them if they give the Payton family 0.5%. Walter Payton was iconic to the Chicago Bears and to football. And they should use that as okay, the team has been crap for many decades. It's not just this last season. And they've been hemming and hawing about why it's bad and all this. But it's time to just do something that makes it all kind of feel better and just do something in this department, because the team could be crap for another who knows how long.
Yeah. Garry, that's a great assessment as far as this team is concerned. And to answer your first end of the question, I didn't take it as if he may have thought that I ambushed him, for the simple fact that he had spent 45 minutes on the air with us. And prior to coming on with us, I did ask him, is there anything that we should stay away from or you don't want to address or discuss? And it was open forum for him. So I don't think that he felt ambush. I think he was certainly caught off guard because we were going along with his Q&A as far as the politically correct answers to all the questions that we were asking. But I think he was surprised by the question in its own right. And I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee you because my wife always say you can't guarantee, but I say 99.9% certain that he took that question back to Virginia McCaskey, Ted Phillips, to the people in place and said, we need to think about this and kind of evaluate this thing, because the great Mike Singletary just interviewed for the defensive coordinator position for the Bears this past week. So that was an indicator for me that they're thinking about this. But as far as the Payton family getting a piece of, and you're right, 0.5%. It doesn't matter if it's 0.5%, 1%. I thought 3.4% for 34, whatever the case may be. This is something that the family themselves should have addressed and made happen. They didn't. It didn't happen. I think it's a step in the right direction for them, and it's something that they seriously have to consider and think about, for the simple fact that what Walter Payton means, not only to the city, but to the sport itself, the National Football League. And when you have the Man of the Year award every year to remember, in my opinion, the greatest football player to ever lace them up, the least that the Storybook franchise could do is talk to the family and ask them. They may not even want it, but ask them. We would like to give you 1% ownership of this team.
There is no black ownership in the NFL right now.
That's exactly right. I mean, you have, I think, a minority owner, but no African-American. Garry, there are 6 head coaching positions open after the season, right? There's one more job to be filled. That's down in the Houston Texans. None of the 6 positions that have been filled were filled with African Americans. One by a minority, but none by African American head coaches who are looking for an opportunity. So as far as ownership is concerned, certainly there are no African American owners in the National Football League.
let's go back to when Walter Payton wanted to get the St. Louis Rams. How qualified was he as far as what you need to own an NFL team?
Well, from what I understand and recall, he had a substantial amount of financial backers, powerful financial backers who were willing to put up the money. And of course, as we all know, at the end of the day, money talks, BS walks, as they say. But Walter Payton was positioned and had some serviceable individuals in his camp, to respectable and credible individuals in his camp, to make the push forward. Because one thing about Walter, he was always prepared, and he did not want to go down this venture without making sure that all the I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. He was positioned, and he felt that the package and proposal that they had put together as a team was worthy enough for these owners to vote in favor to give him this team.
And here we are 20 some years later. Has there been any other black individual who wanted to buy an NFL team and couldn't get there in the same way Walter did?
Right. No, there hasn't been any, to my knowledge, there hasn't been any other African-American businessman or interest that wanted to put up money to get a football team in the National Football League. And it's unfortunate. It scares me, Gary, the fact that it's 2021 now. We're still talking about, the inequalities and racial justice and, everything that's going on in this beautiful country we call the United States of America. So it's really so disappointing and sad that we still have to even discuss these topics. And, when I was a kid, growing up on the South Side and, watching these teams and watching Walter Payton, and then getting the opportunity to work with Walter Payton and get to know his family and Jared and Brittany, and to still see in 2021 that there's no representation or anything outside of the Man of the Year award to honor Walter Payton. To me, as a fan, as a Chicagoan, as an African American, it's almost a disservice. Yeah. It's really a disservice.
Steve just texted in and said, I think he should own 100%. His family should own 100% of the Bears. I mean, again, it's just good karma. I mean, for what he did for the Bears and the city of Chicago, it's a feel good for everybody. And I know a lot of these sports owners in all sports, it's a weird club, because I remember that Mark Cuban wanted to buy the Pittsburgh Pirates because he's from Pittsburgh, and they locked him out because they have their own little weird orbit, and they don't want anybody that's remotely not into whatever that weird orbit is in their orbit.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's Gary, here's the scary thing about all of this. Ted Phillips, who is the CEO president of the Chicago Bears, who's been with the team for 20 plus 30 years. And I understand he's a very intelligent man. He's very good with numbers and money, having, gone to Notre Dame and Northwestern. But the Bears family, the McCaskey family and the organization put more stock in Ted Phillips than they actually do the man who helped take that franchise to the next level,
to their one and only Super Bowl.
And Ted Phillips has never run the football. He's never thrown a pass. He's never thrown a block. He's never lifted. I don't know if he's ever lifted a weight, but he's never contributed on the field the way that this man, Walter Payton, has. And for his family not to be recognized, honored, and again, put a proposal together and say, hey, we want you to be 1% owners in the Chicago Bears franchise. It's almost ludicrous to me. And I do appreciate the fact, Gary, that you're keeping this going.
I just, when I heard it, Jerry, I thought, come on, it seems like a no-brainer. I know I don't have any skin in the game, but just as a good karma situation, like I said, okay, I saw this 2-part series on Tiger Woods recently. It's airing on HBO or something. And something was pointed out in this that I thought, yes. And I thought this before all of this came out, as far as Tiger and his troubles with women and all that. And when he came back to play the Masters, this thing is called the Masters in the South, right there. You know, there's something still not right.
Garry, Ding, 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 ding,
Yeah.
ding, ding. You win, as we used to say back. You're the caller of the show, even though you're the host of the show. Because think of when all this started unfolding in 2020 with the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and all of this. We kind of posed the question. We really didn't throw it out on our show, the Rewind Sports 60, but I asked, several people, do you think they should change the name of the Masters because it's called the Masters? And
Right.
I got the response of people kind of like frowning upon me, like, no, you can't do that. I go, but you have to understand, when this game came about, when this tournament came about, they only just recently allowed women into this country club atmosphere, and it's called the Masters. And
right. Tiger wouldn't even be allowed in that golf, whatever that thing is, if he wasn't a champion. I mean, they wouldn't let him have the time of day. And the other thing I noticed is when he had the scandal and he came back to play the Masters, right about 6 months after, the guy that runs that thing, he had a press conference. They said, well, this is not the way we want our club represented, and he better shape. And I'm like, and Brian Gumbel was part of this, and he said if that was a white player who did that, they would have never publicly beaten him like that.
No.
And it's true. It's this is none of our business, a lot of that. And I know I'm kind of one off from where you're at on this, but it's just weird stuff like the Bears, who have a park district running their field.
Right.
This is an NFL team. The Chicago Park District is in charge of their field. I mean, right there, it seems like it doesn't scream success to me.
It doesn't. And again, we're talking about, a new era, and the Bears continue to practice their old way of business, and teams, organizations, they're running past them. And I give the example as far as moving into the next, century, or the next era. And you look at what happened with the Chicago Blackhawks and Papa Warts, how he ran the organization. And now most of the finances or the money that's made for the Warts family is through their liquor distributorship. So Papa Warts was like 18,686 fans come through the turnstile at the Chicago Stadium, UC, or whatever the case. He didn't care. He didn't care. If you can't watch it on television, so be it. Once he passed and Rocky took over, we see the success that the Chicago Blackhawks has had because they moved into the next realm. The Cubs did the same thing. They finally moved into the next era, and they won a championship. The Bulls are finally doing it after getting rid of John Paxson, who I love, and Gar Forman. But Michael Reinsdorf felt, hey, Dad, we got to move this thing to the next level, or we're going to lose. Yeah. And they did that. So the Bears are the only team in Chicago, basically, that are still practicing old ways of doing business, and it simply won't work, and it simply won't fly.
Well, speaking of the Bulls, they got rid of Jordan and Pippen when they probably still had at least 3 championships in them. Here's the analogy I make. That's like getting rid of Lennon and McCartney in your band. I mean, what are you doing? And here they are, 23 years later, still trying to rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole different show, Gary.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think Jerry Reinsdorf is probably the best owner in the city of Chicago, but he has his flaws, and one of his flaws is, and I love to work for him, to be honest with you, but his loyalty to his employees. He's loyal to a fault, and that was the case with the Bulls and Jerry Krause, that he was so loyal to Jerry Krause and gave him the power to do whatever he wanted. And that's where we find ourselves today, 20 plus years later, trying to rebuild a franchise that the greatest of all time, Michael Jordan, built.
Yeah. All right. And it's 35 years since the Bears won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
35 years now. I mean, come on, something ain't right.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I had a chance to send part of the interview to Fred Mitchell, longtime scribe, award-winning Hall of Fame journalist here in the Chicagoland area, covering all ends of sports. And he applauded me and said, thank you, congratulations, and awesome. Because he understood and understands what it means personally as far as the family is concerned in the city, but what it means as far as race relations are concerned in this country and just in this city. And it was just something that someone needed to do and someone needed to put into place. And I guess I was the guy to pitch it to Mr. McCaskey. And again, I hope that it does not fall on deaf ears.
No, so far, I don't see them all getting together. Oh, okay. How can we get that 1% to the Peyton family? And I just figured after he was done with your conversation, he just went, oh, that was interesting. I'll forget about that. I hope it isn't that, but that's the way I picture the whole thing happening. Because when I see Virginia in the skybox eating the peanut brittle and the hot chocolate, she's almost 100 years old.
Yes. Yes.
Now George is what to Virginia? I don't know that whole Venn diagram of the McCaskey families.
Yeah, I think that's like the grandson.
He's the grandson to Virginia.
Yeah, I believe that's exactly right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But
okay. And here this weekend we'll watch Tom Brady, who went to another team, still in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers from a smaller city, who's a marquee Hall of Fame quarterback, still in the playoffs year after year.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's the scary thing, and I pitched this to George, and again, he had a politically correct answer for it. I said, look at the Rooney family. I said, Pittsburgh. I said, they had 3 head coaches, and all 3 head coaches have won Super Bowls.
Right. And their current head coach is a black head coach.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And I go, look at the Green Bay Packers, from Bart Starr to Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers, and his understudy is on the sideline. So the quarterbacking situation, they've been able to master that, but yet here in Chicago, we fall short of the quarterback. We fall short of the coaching. Garry, how do you fire an African-American coach who went 10-6, and you fire him because you wanted to go in another direction?
And you're talking about Lovie Smith. They had right. It's not like they didn't have a black coach before. They had one. He's 10-6. We don't like what you're doing. Oh, you'd rather be 4-12 or 8-8 or whatever the hell you are now.
Yeah, and when I brought the record, this past year's record, to Mr. McCaskey, I said, the team finished 8-8. He corrected me. He said, no, Jerry, we finished 8-9.
Yeah.
So he was proud of an 8-9 record, indicating that they went to the playoffs. But that was sufficient for him to say, hey, we were 8-9 this past season.
Yeah.
And in my book, that's not success.
No, that isn't. Jerry, I hope you enjoyed the homage to Ohio State that Alan put together at the beginning of the show. I see you have your Ohio State stuff in the back there.
Go Buckeyes.
And your son is there now?
No. He was there. I attended the great Ohio State University back in the I just missed the Woody Hayes days, but back in the 80s, my son fell in love with the university, and he attended in the early 2000s. God bless him. And he once he graduated, he went on and got his master's from Northwestern University, the Kellogg School of Business. And he and his beautiful wife are happily residing, guess what, in Humboldt Park in Chicago. And Humboldt Park has changed considerably. But I said, son, you want to live in Humboldt Park?
Now, for those who don't know Humboldt Park, explain why you're saying that.
Well, Humboldt Park, again, when I was a kid growing up, we were terrified from the news coming out of Humboldt Park because of all the crime and the violence around that area. But over the years, Mayor Daley, the son, he was able to get in there and clean some things up. And of course, current mayor Lori Lightfoot is trying to spruce things up as well. So the neighborhood has considerably changed. But back when we were growing up, it was really, really a challenge just to even drive in the area. But it's changed considerably now.
All right. Jerry, we will talk down the road. If you hear from George, I'm not expecting that. Maybe you are. We'll talk again about this. But keep it going. I love the idea.
Oh, yeah, we'll certainly keep it going. I thank you so very much. It's a pleasure. And, if we don't hear from him, that's fine. But I truly believe, and again, with Mike Singletary getting an interview as a defensive coordinator for the Bears, to me, that's an indication that they're thinking about it, and it's a step in the right direction. So we'll certainly keep you posted, Garry. And thank you, and keep up the great work that you're doing.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Jerry Riles, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Leslie. We're going to acknowledge the fine sponsors of the program right now, starting with Bettenhausen Automotive. let us show you some of their wares. Alan?
Bettenhausen, the Midwest's #1 dealer, has Chicagoland's largest selection of new Dodge Grand Caravans, Dodge Journeys, or Jeep Renegades. Shop the Start Something New sales event 24/7 at BettenhausenCDJR.com.
David Hochberg is your mortgage expert. His team will help you with, well, you got your mortgage right there. You got your Wi-Fi. I got that going now. How about your
refi, maybe?
How about refi on your Wi-Fi? You know what happens about, what are we at, 45 minutes in?
Oh, golly.
I'm about halfway done.
Gary ends up talking to his hi-fi after that.
I'm a hi-fi, Wi-Fi, refi. They do it all in the mimosa. And how about a reverse mortgage? Have you explored that? If you're of a certain age, they do that too. They do everything you need. There he is, that handsome man, David. 855-563-2843. Call him. The rates right now around 3%. That's pretty damn low. I mean, my parents, I keep saying this, but I can't believe it, in the early 60s had a 3% mortgage. This is 2021, right? Yeah. Still good. Then when you get the place, how about some white shaker cabinets? These are the hottest thing happening right now. If you watch HGTV like I do, I like to watch people build stuff, and this white shaker cabinet is the thing to have. They have them at Builder Supply Outlet, and they have them in stock. So you could go tomorrow, buy them, and install them tomorrow. You don't have to order and then go, when will you have them? Well, we'll have them in about 3 weeks. No, Builder Supply Outlet has them now. You can put those cabinets, kitchen, bathroom, wherever cabinets go, put them there. And they're not that particle board cabinet that you see in a lot of these big box stores. Yeah, they have them in those stores and they're cheap, but they're particle board. No, that's not what Builder Supply Outlet has. They have the real good stuff with the soft closed doors and the frameless construction. That's good. Look at it.
They're made in the USA.
And how about that? Yes, made in the USA.
Woo-hoo.
Check it out. And if you'd like to get a little something, you will when you buy them, because if you mention my name, Garry Meier, when you buy anything, you'll get $25 off your purchase. Okay, they're located just 5 miles east of the Oak Brook Shopping Mall on Cermak Road at 25th Ave in Broadview, Illinois, buildersupplyoutlet.com. And we are also always wearing, especially when we go out, our air purifier medallion. This is an air purifier. It gives you a 4-foot bubble, killing germs within 4 feet of you. You wear it around I don't wear it during the show because it rubs up against the microphone. There's Alan. He's out and about with his face mask and his air purifier. Yeah. 3airhealth.com to get one of those. Love this thing. The air just feels better.
So much safer. And
safer. And the air feels just pure altogether, even if there wasn't COVID, right?
Kind of an ozone thing happening.
Yes. All right. You want to do another story before we say goodbye?
I can. Let's actually, I think I got 2 for you guys.
Did you see this? Somebody got a 2.3 refi. Donna, 2.3? Okay.
Nice. A Pearl Jam tribute band in the UK has changed its name after receiving a cease and desist letter from the real Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam, spelled with 2 M's, from now on will be known as Legal Jam, after the other Pearl Jam's lawyer explained that their old name was causing confusion. Legal Jam now issued a statement this week saying, "A name doesn't define us. We do what we do out of love and respect for Pearl Jam. We are proud to announce the new name, which we thought would be fitting." So there you go.
They thought they could get away with that by adding an M.
Really? Yeah. Nobody's going to have a problem with that. McDonald's with 2 D's.
Right. Apple with 3 P's.
Or 3 D's. Or, whatever. And a man in Australia awoke from a 7-month coma this week to find homicide detectives waiting to charge him with murder. The 21-year-old was rushed to the hospital back in June after falling from a 4th-floor apartment balcony. When police decided to check out the apartment the following day, they found the body of the patient's girlfriend inside. She'd been beaten to death. Says the lead detective in this case, quote, "He's very, very lucky to be alive." Well, that's now debatable considering that he's charged with murder. He's going to have his first hearing before a judge from his hospital bed via a video link.
for murder.
Murder.
What day is it? January 20 what? I killed somebody when?
Young man, we've got some good news and some bad news.
All right, you're out of the coma and charged with murder. Murder.
So there you go.
All right, that's good, I think, for this week. Thank you for listening. And here comes that cannoli coming down the aisle. Take it. It's complimentary. Somebody suggested, Leslie, that I have a Schnauzer co-host with me one day. Okay. I hate to explain. Hey, there's Bernie.
A lot of stuff.
Okay, this picture of Bernie is now everywhere. This has become something, him with the mittens and sitting there, and now it's everywhere.
Okay, so last week I was thinking that guy who was at the Capitol with the big horns, that would be the top costume for 2021. Now I'm thinking Bernie, brown coat, mittens, mask. There's your number 2.
There it is.
Costume. Bank on it.
Somebody sent me a picture, and this happens not only in Chicago, it happens around the country where you have snow, and then you shovel out the area in front of your house, and you put lawn chairs and handles to hold your space. They had him holding the space after it was shoveled out in the chair.
He was a dibs holder. The other one was Breakfast Club. You know that iconic picture where they're sitting on the railing?
Yeah.
And there's Bernie at the end. There have been some great ones.
Yeah, it's all over the place now.
Including right here on our podcast.
And right there. Did you say what to do with the Schnauzer?
I didn't, but in honor of our guest, Jerry, punt the Schnauzer.
Oh, wow. Okay, there's your weekend right there. Hey, thanks for listening. Back on Monday. Hope you can join us for that. It is time to head in. We are dropping those gears there. That's 3 in the green. Gears down, flaps are down. The voice of the globe saying that hey, good luck on the Mega. The Garrforce has landed.
If you like that, I got other stuff I think you're going to like. This is the Garrforce